Hey, and thank you for clicking play. Let's get into it. So this week we're going to look at the Acorn Electron, which is of course the system that I picked up recently. And in terms of the history of the systems I had, it's the one that we got hold of after the Philips G7000. And look, we didn't get the Philips G7000 when they were brand new, because they came out late 70s and we would have been early 80s when we got that, probably around 83 at a guess, going by my age at the time-ish. And then, so equally, the Acorn Electron, we didn't get it brand new. So when we got an Acorn Electron, the machine that I was asking for at the time was a Spectrum. And why was I asking for a Spectrum? Well, because that's what all my friends had. And what did I mean by Spectrum? Well, I meant the, rubber key 48K. What my brother came home with one day was one of these. And I didn't know until my last trip back to the UK, which was Christmas 2019. And I was chatting to him about the fact that I'd rebought an Amiga and getting back into the retro computer scene and, talking about the old systems, that he told me the story. I think I must have been protected from the truth of how my brother got his hands on an Acorn Electron back then, because he literally just, and I remember it clearly, he just came home one day. So I'd come home from school or whatever, and he came home from, it was actually college at the time because he was studying, and he just had an Acorn Electron. And it wasn't boxed. Where is this dodgy story going? So he came home with an Acorn Electron and a tape deck and a heap of games that were in the big boxes, but the actual system wasn't boxed. All the cables that we needed to run, whatever. So, whatever. My brother's come home with an Acorn Electron. Great, let's get into it. And it wasn't until that trip back in 2019 when I was talking to him about it that he told me the truth of how he actually got hold of one. Apparently, he was at college playing, he said it was either 3 or 5 card brag in the breaks, and he wasn't particularly good at the game, but they were playing for money, and he suddenly found himself with an unbeatable hand, or so he thought. And one of the other guys that was really good at the game thought he had an unbeatable hand and had run out of money to put in the pot. So said, well, how about this? And pulled out this Acorn Electron. They roughly valued it at about £50. And that's how my brother came home randomly with an Acorn Electron. That's the story he's sticking to. Who knows where it came from before that? But yeah, and it had the books and everything. So it's quite crazy. So obviously this one I bought off eBay. In the pickup video, I was actually where I sort of opened the mystery box. There was actually, I was a bit confused about price because there were several things, a couple of Acorns I was involved in bidding or purchasing, and I was also flitting between, do I get an Acorn or do I get a Spectrum Plus 3 at the time? And ended up with this, and I said in that video that it cost me about £60 to £70. That's not actually accurate. So this was a buy it now listing, because I've double checked back through my history. This is a buy it now listing, and it was listed at £100 and plus about £60 international postage, mind you. And I put in an offer of £85 with a bit of a begging message with it saying, I know it's not your problem, but I've got to sort of try and offset some of the cost of postage here. And he accepted my offer. So I think that was a fair price. Take out the international postage. I just have to take that on the chin. You see them, because there's been so many of them, you see them go for £50. You see them go for £250, depending on what they come with. But often the ones in the £50 range are either untested or they are literally just that, and nothing with it. Even though if they say they tested, they still don't come with a power unit. So what I got for £85, forget postage at the moment. So for what I got for £85 was a nice Acorn Electron, I think, a tape deck. So that's good as well. The original books, which is great. Not the original packaging, but that's fine. Okay. And all these tapes. So no, they don't have their big box surrounds, so that's a bit of a bummer, but I do have the cassettes, so that's great. Now of these, let's go backwards, I don't remember playing chess on the Acorn Electron, so whether we had chess or not, I'm not sure. Maybe we had it and I could never get it to load, or I couldn't be bothered with it. I don't know. But anyway, I've got chess there. The introductory cassette. So we had the introductory cassette, and I know that for sure because there's a couple of games on here that really ring a bell. Dodgems, definitely played that. And Lunar Lander, I knew there was one, and it was Steve from the Perth Amiga user group that prompted my memory. It's actually on side B of the introductory cassette, Lunar Lander. So that is on there. So we definitely had that. We definitely had business games, not that I ever bothered to load it, but I'm pretty sure we had that cassette. So this is good. This is sort of recollecting a lot of the stuff. And we definitely had Boxer. So that is that. But I said on the unboxing video, I'm pretty sure we had Starship Command. And do you know what? We didn't have Starship Command. When I fired this up, well, I've just given you a spoiler away. By the way, it works. It works absolutely fine. Spoiler. But when I fired this up, it's like, no, that's not the game I was thinking of. And I've done some digging via downloading and loading them off an app from my phone, just tape images. And the game I was actually thinking of is called Video's Revenge, which is a really weird game title, but it's a vertical scrolling shooter with a radar so you can see where things are coming from. And it's got these weird bouncing skulls. Anyway, so that was the game I was thinking of, Video's Revenge. Starship Command, kind of similar premise, but you also rotate the ship. So it's a very good game, a much deeper game than the one I was thinking of. But yeah, this isn't one that I had, I'm pretty sure. So I have started listing on my list of things to rebuy the games that I did have. And again, a bit like the Philips G7000, I didn't have that many games for this. I certainly did buy some extra games other than the ones we got. And it will be nice to recollect those big boxes. Sphinx Adventure, oddly enough, for me is probably a biggie that I really want to get hold of, as is Hopper, which is a Frogger clone. So that would be nice. So onto the unit itself. Well, with the tape deck, the books, look, they've clearly been stored in the damp at some point. They're fine, but whatever. But the great thing about collecting this is because we never had it boxed, I'm really not fussed about the, you know, original packaging experience. It doesn't matter because that's not what I had, so I don't need any of that. Tape deck, look, we just had a generic tape deck, so this fits well, and this has the full tape control, so it will automatically start and stop when it needs to during loading. So that's fantastic. And I went to clean this and I found it was already squeaky clean. So I do believe this eBay seller, and he did have a couple of Acorn Electrons for sale, isn't just a flipper. I haven't dealt with him before, but I really do suspect he's not just a flipper. He checks stuff thoroughly, he cleans stuff, he makes sure it's operational. I was having some trouble with the cables and realized that on the cables themselves, Mick and Ia were actually labeled incorrectly. And so I sort of mentioned it because I said, oh, I can't get tapes to load, and then said, oh, never mind, I figured it out. The labels were wrong. And he goes, oh, sorry, my bad. I must have put the labels on the wrong cables. So he's even relabeled the cables. That's the sort of detail he's gone to. So that's fantastic. And I think that's why this is in such good condition. I mean, I don't feel the need to clean it. It looks squeaky clean. It's still got the original cover on the slot expansion on the back, so that's great. There's no markings on the key, so either it had it and is cleaned, or I don't see that it's been retro brided, but the click's coming back to the keyboard a little bit, so that's quite nice. And when I first started playing on it, I did find, like, typing, when you're testing the keys, you couldn't really tell there was a problem. But when I started playing Boxer, I was having issues going left on Z. And so once I got to the high score screen, what I did was I just hammered Z until it started coming out frequently. And I've done it on a few keys. And do you know what? The more I do that, the more it just frees itself up. And now this is pretty much, I don't have an issue with any key just from doing that while there's power going through the unit. So it's just cleaning up those contacts without even taking it apart. And you know what happens when I take things apart. So the longer we can leave that without me having to take something apart, the better. Because that's not my forte, as we know, but I do need to get that Philips G7000 working. So I think from here, let's put it on the desk and let's do the biggie. Can we load something off an original cassette? Let's do it. There we go, the Acorn Electron, beep, firing up. And what I do remember was, the first thing I did with our Acorn Electron was do this in front of my brother and sisters. 10, print. My name is Chris. And look, there's another video where I've done this on the same thing on a BBC Micro via emulation in more depth, but I will go back to doing some more programming actually on the Acorn Electron, because I think it'll be fun. 10, print, my name is Chris. 20, you know where we're going. Go to 10. So there we go. There's my amazing code. I'm going to rule the world. I'm going to hack any nation you feel like mentioning that I probably won't mention. And there we go. That is my awesome programming skills. And let's go. Oh yeah, we have to type run. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I didn't type 10, did I? 20, sorry, 20, go to 10. There, you would have all been spotting that going, what are you doing, you idiot? Run. There we go. And my siblings were like, what is this black magic? How did you know how to do this? So actually, do you know what? The sales blurb was right. What I was learning at school, I could implement at home and vice versa. And that's really good. Look, I ended up with a career in IT. So, you know, clearly these sort of things paid off. I never bothered saving any of the programs I wrote, to be honest. So let's get into trying to load a tape. Now, I did remember the command. That's never left me. And obviously, usually you type in the name of the program that you want to load, or you just type in double quotes and it will load the first program that it comes across. So what I've done is I've queued up the introductory cassette, and I've actually queued up side B. And sorry, it's not Lunar Lander, as I said just now. It's actually called Mars Lander. So that's what I'm going to try and load up here. I've queued up the tape in the right position. And the two things I forgot, obviously, because then I went on to the Spectrum Plus 3, which while it had a disk drive, I loaded more often from tape than disk. And so I'm more familiar with that. That's clear in my memory of, and of course, even when I had the Electron, my friends had Spectrums, the fact that you heard the load sounds. On the Electron, you don't. So let's get into it. And also, because I'm using the REM cable on the cassette deck, which is remote, the Electron actually controls the tape deck. Look, if I press play, it's not playing. Like it won't, I can't fast forward, I can't do anything. It's not playing, and it won't play until it's in such a mode as to let it play. So even though I've pressed play there, it won't be until I actually press enter on the, return on the keyboard, and that squeaking you can hear is actually the tape machine working. So it starts to load. Let's see how successful this is at loading, and we'll talk about that as it gets into it. This might load first time. Here we go. So look what's happened here. It's skipped and it's lost one, and what you can do, which I swear you couldn't do on the Spectrum, this seems to kind of load in blocks. So I can just sort of skip back using rewind. So 8 was the last successful one. I've gone back to 5. It finds 6. It's found 7, and now it's found 8, and it's trying to load from 8 again. And now it's loading 9. So when it does stuff up, you can actually just rewind to the previous block and then let it find its place again. And it actually gives you the prompt to rewind the tape. Now, I'm pretty sure as a kid, I rewound it all the way. Let's do it again. Oh, so I've clearly got a sticky place on the tape here. There we go. So Mars Lander, Mars Lander, not Lunar Lander, Mars Lander. Does your cassette have recorder, have motor control? Yes, it does. That's fine. Don't know why it needs to know that. Probably it would have just told me to pause the tape if it didn't. Let's play. This isn't a particularly good game, but I just wanted to show a game loading from tape. And so what you have here is randomly generated thing. Here's my little lander, and I've forgotten what the controls are. There we go. Space to thrust, so I have to correct I have to get this little thing to land. There we go, landed. Fuel is 99, your score is 0. I have to fly to somewhere that far away. Literally, that's my measure. All right, what do you reckon we try and get it here? That would be awesome. Nope, 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 abort. Okay, we'll go for that next one. Oops, smashed into the side. Okay, so that's how you actually play the game on the introductory cassette. Let me tell you, because you get fairly bored of this fairly quickly, let me show you what me and my brother then ended up doing. Okay, we would do this. We would go, right, let's get it sort of stable. And then we do this. We'd basically thrust and then just sort of let go until we think it's got to a good height. Then double tap left or right so that it's basically now facing down, and then we'll hit thrust again, and we'll basically see how far through the screen and what speed we could get it to crash at. It was sort of like an unofficial sub game that we invented. You know, I've hit the ground at 1,036 meters a second. Fantastic. I think that's a personal best. So that's the extra game we played. Look, my favorite game out of all the ones that we've got here is Boxer, I think. So, as in from the ones that I had before. So I want to do a separate video on that. Don't get overexcited. And then I just want to play games on it for you as I recollect them. But I want to wrap up this video before I then sort of hand back to myself at the desk by showing you what I think is a good game on that. Now to do that I have to load it off my phone, so you won't be able to see me load that because my phone is my camera. So sorry about that, but please do go to OzRetroComp's video that I'll link in the description that shows you how to do that. So I'm just going to load an image off my phone and then I'll show you a decent game. So, yes, so this game is Sarcastria. I have loaded it off an image, but I had this game back in the day, and it's basically like an Iridium clone. And I remember playing Iridium on a friend's Commodore 64, I think it was. I only had one friend, I think, with a C64. And I was just blown away by the fluid movement and the way the craft flips over and what have you. And next time, I think it was in W.A. Smith's in Tunbridge, and I saw this game, and I just had to go home with it. So, because I could even tell from the screenshots the similarities. So let's have a quick look. And I might have to do a more stroby take as well. But here we go, sideways scroller. I've gone wrong. But see how it sort of flips over? Might be hard for you to see. Oh, you can only go so far, you have to go back round. There we go, you have to get that guy. And those are like towers at the end there. So you have to avoid those. And there. Died. There we go, it's a bit better. Ooh. And you got that sort of fluid thing. So there we go. Look, that's what it sounds funny saying. I want to show you a good game on the Acorn Electron. This is a good game, and there's a few that really tickle my fancy. So there we go. This is good memories. Let's go back to the desk. So there you go. Look, the machine works. The cassette deck does work, but tapes are as finicky as they ever were. I have got things to load off tape, but You know, having the ability to load off of an app on your phone is a fantastic backup to have as well. And I will put a link in the description to OzRetroComp's video where he actually details how to, if you don't have the actual correct audio cable, how to just jack one with a paper clip, but what app he uses, so and how to get that running and everything like that. So really useful information, and that's the information I use to get up and running as well. And all the links for where you can get tape images are in his video description. So if you need that information, do go and have a look at that. From here, look, I'm really enjoying the Acorn Electron again, and yeah, every game I fire up, I find myself getting instantly pulled back in, even though they are so simple. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think this was a good purchase. So thanks again for watching. Stay safe, hug those kids. Your own kids, hug your own kids. Yeah, cool. The first thing I did with our Acorn Electron was do this in front of my brother and sisters. 10. Print. My name is Chris. That is my awesome programming skill. Sorry, 20, go to 10. There, you would have all been spotting that going, what are you doing, you idiot? Run. There we go. And my siblings were like, what? What is this black magic? How did you know how to do this? So actually, do you know what? The sales blurb was right. Yeah, it's funny how memories slowly come back. And I need to correct myself as I was editing that. So a little extra at the end of the video here. That's not the way it went down. I've remembered now. So actually that was the little bit of programming my brother knew. He showed me on the Acorn Electron that first day he brought it home. And then I then showed that at school to some friends and to the teacher as to my little bit of programming that I could do. So that's the truth. As the memories have come back, I've now sort of realised actually that's how it went down. So it's the complete reverse of the lies that I told you just now. So there you go.